We were flying missions out of Snetterton Heath, which was north of Cambridge. Our first wild experience, they sent us off one time on a practice mission, and coming back in, the fog was so thick you couldn't see your wingtips. And they didn't have any way of landing planes then. They could take the radios and vector you in over the crossing of the runways, and then you'd have to fly out so much and lower and fly certain degrees and lower, and then come in. And to see if you were going to hit the runway in that fog, they'd have a man standing down the end of the runway, and he'd have a Very pistol. And if you sound like you were going to hit pretty good, well, he'd shoot a green flare, and you'd see the fog turn green. And if you sound like you were missing, he'd shoot a red one, and you'd see it red, and then you'd have to pull up real quick, because there's 36 planes going round a circle trying to get in. And this time, we got a green flare when it was our time to come in, and shortly after that, there were two of us coming in, and we hit right on the top of another one, and both planes just went boom, just fire everywhere. And I was signing off my log in the radio room, and had a pipe in my mouth and a pencil in my hand, and when this said boom and fire everywhere, man, I just turned around and took off and jumped out the waist door. And I fell some distance. I don't know how far off the ground we were, and I tumbled and run. And then I could see our plane hit the other one and skidded off the top and was going down the runway out here, just a ball of fire, and I'm tumbling this way. And I'm thinking, man, I can't guide myself. I hope that thing don't come this way. And finally I stopped rolling, the plane went on. And I finally stood up and watched it burn up. They later, I don't know what happened to the engines, but they later, next day, swept that whole mess up and loaded up the pickup truck, dumped 2 brand new B-17s.